Good evening and welcome back once again. It's In the Know, brought to you by the Racing Post and Coral. My name is Ross Brierley. It's Friday night. It's the 9th of February and we're getting excited about Betfair Hurdle Day at Newbury tomorrow. Oh, it's a proper handicap hurdle. It really is. It's a cracking race like the ones your grandma used to make. It's going to be an absolute blinder tomorrow, and I'm sure we've got plenty of opinions despite the ground going particularly heavy. So big field for that one. We'll go through as many runners as we possibly can. We've also got a couple of nice Grade 2 chasers, of course, and more quirks in the runners there than a revival of Birds of the Feather. And of course, some nice novices in the Handicap Chase, including finally a chance for Mr. Coffee to get the job done at the 13th time of asking over fences. Who knows? Fairy tales do happen. There's all that and much, much more tomorrow. Unfortunately, there isn't Warwick, of course. That would have been a nice card as well. New Toxteth has also gone by the wayside as the weather took a turn over the last 24 hours or so. But don't you worry, we've sorted out our problems. The studio is dried out, the computers and the cameras are working. Air conditioning, not so much. So if we start sweating by the end, it's not because we've run out of things to say, it's because it's absolutely baking in here. But still, that's not going to stop us getting stuck in. Studio, get in touch on the chat, of course. I've got the YouTube studio chat up here. Good evening to Duncan Evans, to Paul Warburton, to Vince, Dean Partridge, Alan Keane, and many, many more. So get involved on that chat and like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. So last time I saw him, he was in Dublin. I should have seen him after that as well, but unfortunately, Aer Lingus forgot that they needed the plane to work. So I had an unexpected Monday afternoon off, and you managed to get loads of writing done, Keels.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was just a day's work sitting in the hotel lobby. That was my office, but yeah, it was good fun. Good fun weekend.
After, the best Dublin Racing Festival of all time. I mean, every single race was a peach. Trainers, owners, everyone were...
Yeah, everyone get on the action, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, yeah.
Mullins.
Yeah.
Mullins.
Yeah, what was that? He's the other guy.
Yeah,
Mullins. That was him, yeah.
That's it, yeah. I mean, it was total domination when all 8 Grade 1s, 9 races in all, I think. What do you say? Tom, he's had like 2/3 of all the horses finished in the first 4. I think of them, or more. Yeah. So yeah, great. If you're Willie Mullins, not so great for everybody else. It does seem, as Tom alluded to, like a lot of people have just given up on it.
Yeah.
Right, and let Mullins get on with it. I did enjoy the racing overall, though.
Yeah, there was some
good, there were some good handicaps to punt on. I didn't enjoy the results of those at all. It was a very expensive weekend. I was able to drown myself with copious quantities of Guinness, though, which was very nice.
It was that tough that even the 20-1 Lilite Tom didn't make an impact.
Well, no, because I'm an idiot, aren't I? I suggested backing it without and didn't back him at 20-1.
Right, okay.
Because I'm an idiot.
Yes, you are. You're the smartest idiot in the room, or the stupidest genius, depending on which way you want to look at it.
It's a ridiculous price at 5-1 without. Why didn't you back him with? The amount of times I've done that, I tell you.
Yeah, fair enough. It could have been worse. You could have done a short head and been kind of right, but also lost.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Which is the worst thing about the year without the favourite market. But luckily, though, we're spared any Willie Mullins chat this weekend, Tom, because, no, we're not. No, we're not at all. Tom Segal, lovely to see your face. It's been weeks.
Yeah, it has. We cancelled 1 week, weren't we? We couldn't get, and then I wasn't going to Ireland. If I can't get to London, I certainly wasn't going to Dublin. But no, it's been a long time. Looking forward to it, Ross. Liked your Pauline Quirk joke. Good start.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, that's just that's the. That's the age group I'm aiming for, isn't it? Birds of a Feather jokes.
That's the only reason. I'm probably the only one who got it.
Yeah. Well, I do. Whenever I come up with anything like that, I think, will Tom appreciate this? You're always in my thoughts, mate. But
thanks, Ross.
what are you? Newbury, heavy ground, big field in the Betfair Hurdle. Every other race is, well, I mean, interesting. If any of the runners turn up, of course, it's deja vu in that regard.
Yeah, I quite like those sort of small field sort of trial races. Not really trial races, but the Denman and the races like that, because you get turn-ups in them. Over the year, I remember Corto Star just barely scraping home from Lamy one year. And I just think they're quite good races to have a bet in. I've had a bit of success in races like that over the years, so I don't mind those sort of small field conditions races because I think they're priced up wrong. The handicaps are going to be just, I think the Betfair Hurdle. It's one of those races, Ross, where you can fancy about 16, and it's going to be really annoying. It's what I describe as I should have got that race. I know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Because I'll be watching Reading Charlton. I'll stick on my phone halfway through the half time to watch, or to the first half to watch the race. And I'll think, I should have had that. That's so annoying, and it'll be one of those races because you can fancy so many, but it's a really good handicap. I'm really looking forward to it. Hopefully, the ground isn't quite as bad as I think it's going to be, but it's a cracking renewal. I know the standard probably isn't quite as high as it has been, with it only the top rated being 142 or something. But I think everything's got a chance, really, bar one or two.
And I mean, if you're at the match, Tom, can you check it on your phone, or will your pockets be full of tennis balls just before you run onto the pitch, leading the charge, Braveheart style?
I'm going with Richard Birch tomorrow. It's Reading versus Charlton. It's a big one. We're fifth. We're one off the relegation zone, and they're two off the relegation zone. So it's a sort of big, crucial match. But yes, I will have tennis balls, and yes, if we invade the pitch, I will be on. Did you
invade the pitch?
I did go on the pitch, yes. Well, when I say I went on the pitch, I was on the periphery of the pitch.
Okay. That's the most Tom Segal. You just see a picture of you being like, well, no, this is fine. I'm just. Did you dialed into the pitch invasion via Skype? Is that what you did? But anyway. Tom Segal.
I was with my daughter, otherwise I would have definitely been on the pitch. And she said, don't go on the pitch, Dad, there's thousands of them on there. So I sort of stood up by the side.
Yeah. Isn't your job as a dad to, I assume a teenage daughter, to embarrass her, Tom, and just do the opposite?
Well, that was what I wanted to do. But I thought, she was back from university. She's 20 now. So she was back from university. And I thought, I hadn't seen her for a bit. I won't embarrass her this time.
No, fair enough. Save that till next time. But Simon, Clare, how the devil are you?
I'm good. Yeah, listen, I enjoyed my weekend in Dublin, which was extended just because we were going to do the Cheltenham preview show on the Monday night from Ireland, and then obviously your plane trouble meant it just turned into a rather nice long weekend with no end result.
Yeah, well, like I said, I genuinely got through security, got to the thing, and it was cancelled, and then they said, "Oh yeah, you're just gonna have to leave the airport, pretty much." So I got in a cab and then got in a cab home. So it was all fun and games, but I'm sure we can squeeze all those thoughts and feelings in over the course of the next few weeks anyway. Highlights from last week. Have you solidified any opinions after the DRF, Simon?
Well, look, I mean, I think it's you sort of going through the 28 Cheltenham races and staring at lots of short price Willie Mullins favourites. I suppose Ballyburn was the horse that really, in some ways, made the biggest impact. He was very, very impressive and looks likely probably to go for the Supreme, for which he's favourite. He's obviously also favourite for the Barring Bingham. Horse like El Fabiolo, obviously, particularly with John Bond's defeating the Clarence House, looks now very short at 4-9. I suppose Factor File, depending on which route he takes, he was very impressive. I know Gaelic Warwick probably almost certainly didn't run to his best. I thought Factor File looked impressive. I'm kind of hoping he goes for the Turners because I fancy Grey Dawning for the Brown Advisory. But yeah, this will all, I mean, over the next few weeks, it'll start to cement in terms of which direction some of these horses go. But yeah, was there anything that leapt onto the scene from the weekend dramatically? Not really. I suppose Marine Nationale getting beaten was probably almost the result that had the biggest impact on any anti-post market.
I think for me, actually, I've backed Slade Steele for both the Supreme and the Barring Bingham, and actually, Keels, Slade Steele was the one that actually I was like, you know what, I've made the right decision there, because I think to keep tabs on Ballyburn over that trip was a remarkable performance, and I noticed he's kind of halved in price for the Barring Bingham.
Yeah, I mean, it does all depend on where Ballyburn goes, though, doesn't it? I mean, I've still got an inkling that he'll end up going for the Barring Bingham.
Yeah. I mean, well, you never know with Mullins, do you?
I mean, pedigree-wise, he's all stamina, isn't it? Although the whole family are all 3 milers. I mean, his best full brother was Noble Endeavour, who ran in the National Hunt Chase and 2 Grand Nationals.
Yeah.
And there's no doubt, his pedigree tells you he's going to be better the further he goes. He's clearly good enough to win a Supreme as well, though. It's going to boil down to how strong each race looks for Willie Mullins without Ballyburn in it, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
although to be fair, I would say that there have been a lot of Supreme winners who, stamina's been the key.
There's been 3 Gold Cup runner-ups and a Gold Cup third this century.
Yeah.
Who've run in it. Like, you know what I mean? So there's no, he's got the requisite class to do it.
Yeah.
Without a shadow of a doubt. I think if we have a dry March again, and they won't let the ground be too soft. But I mean, if it's very dry, you might think, well, I might want to go further with him. So it'll be. I think it'll generally be a last-minute thing. You say he's favourite for one. I mean, with the firms doing non-run and no bet, I mean, he's 5 to 4 for both, basically, isn't he?
Yeah, pretty much.
So what do you do?
Yeah.
Don't touch either race. But at the moment, simple as that.
Just wait. Yeah.
Well, before we get stuck into tomorrow, just very, very quickly, I'm giving you a fictional tenner, Keels. You've got about one horse based on last week's evidence for the festival. What would it be?
Well, I actually backed a couple. I backed Ethical Diamond each way at 100 for the Triumph and for the Fred Winter.
Okay.
I just thought he was the best horse in the race. Getting way too much to do.
He's a big lad. I thought he'd make a nice novice chase.
But I mean, if he does run in the Triumph 2 mile 1 furlong, I fancy him to beat all of those. And obviously, Cargees is the 7 to 1 second favourite. He won't beat Segal. I don't think anything will.
And what was the other one?
But no, it's the same horse, Ethical Diamond, for the Fred Winter as well.
Oh, I see. Right. Okay.
I did think Stumptown was very much of an eye catcher over 2 mile 5.
Yeah.
He's £9 lower over fences in Ireland than he ran off in the attempts last year, where he looked like he just joined in at the last.
Yeah.
Obviously, the handicapper's not going to let him run off that. But
yeah.
Do you mean Good Time Johnny, Keels?
Good Time Johnny. Yeah. What did I say?
He's a Stumptown.
Oh yeah, Good Time Johnny. Good Time Johnny. Yeah, sorry. I backed Stumptown's actually favourite for that race, even though he's not qualified. Bookmakers won't take him off their list. He's rated 147, and it's a 0 to 125, so 145. Huh. So I think Stumptown might win the Ultimate as well, by the way. But that's just by the by.
Tom, fictional tenner for you based on last week.
Fictional tenner for me last week. I didn't notice anything really. I just noticed Ethical Diamond. I thought Absurd ran a good race, but I don't know where he'll go. I thought if it came up very good ground in the Supreme, he might hit the frame at a big price.
Tom, do you think he could run in the county?
I'm just a bit worried about the track and the trip for him there, because I'm not sure he's a strong stayer, and I think that track and that thing's just might be a little bit too much for him. But he could definitely run well in it. He's very well handicapped, isn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, I thought the big eye catcher in the Ballyburn race, he was held up out the back and sort of came through.
I mean, he's not even the counter. I mean, he's got given his stamina, he's got Martin Pipe written all over him, hasn't he?
Do you think so? I don't think he stayed in the Melbourne Cup at all. I thought he was far too keen. I think he's a bit keen. When he ran in the Melbourne, I backed him to win the Melbourne Cup, and he was far too keen that day. I'd be worried about him at Cheltenham. I really would. But I think there's plenty of races to be run. Yeah. I mean, a bang 2 miles would be perfect for him.
Yeah, I think that's the race I'm most interested in. That Ballyburn race. It did look the one of the weekend. I was like, okay, this is really want to follow these runners. But Simon, fictional tenner for you before we move on.
Yeah, for Absurd, I backed each way in Ballyburn's race, and he just got run out third, didn't he, into fourth. But I think on better ground, he'd be interested wherever he runs, even if it's Aintree potentially. But Factor File, I thought he was just very impressive. I don't get it where he didn't run his race, but he just jumped really well, galloped really well. And I think the Turners looks his for the taking. Although Ginny's Destiny's a good opponent, but I think that'd be the one I was most impressed with.
Okay, thank you very much. And before we get the ad and get stuck into tomorrow, Simon, any time-sensitive price boost for tonight, especially if they're horses who might run?
Yes, well, I mean, Edwardstone, I'm hoping will run. He's 2 to 1 in the price boost. He was 13 to 8 in the main market, which I think is top price. So the 2 to 1 probably worth taking. Even, clearly, I know there's, it's likely Editor Geek may come out, but I'm sure it'll still work out. Better value. That's £20 max up to the end of the show. And then we've got we've gone Dutch with a Castle de Mott and Iberico Lord. Either of them to win the Betfair Hurdle. 100 to 30. They're 11 to 2 and 6 to 1 respectively. So definitely, value in when you add the percentages together. So 100 to 30, either a Castle de Mott or a Iberico Lord to win the Betfair, and 2 to 1 Edwardstone.
Thank you very much. Right, Newbury preview after this little ad about the updated Racing Post app. Okay, right. Let's look at Newbury then on Saturday. Starting off with a big field in the opener, the Novices Hurdle here, albeit it might well be one of those Newbury big fields novice hurdles where 3 go clear and the rest of them pootle out the back. But making headway is 6-5 favourite here. Hastings is 5-2. East India Express 3-1. Excuse me. There's been a bit of a move for Jack Black since I looked at the prices earlier on. 8-1. 4 Towns 12-1. Bally Bay 20s and 22-1. And bigger the rest. Plenty of horses who will no doubt pop up in I don't know, Fontwell and Plumpton handicaps potentially over the rest of the season, or maybe next season as well. But 3 horses dominating the betting. They're making headway at Hastings and East India Express. And, well, a Newbury Novices Hurdle and the 6-5 favourite isn't trained by Nicky Henderson. What a world.
Absolutely. Well, he has got the best form making headway, hasn't he? I mean,
He has.
He's run well in a couple of graded races, obviously 4th to Django Bay in that bottomless ground. Formby as it is now, Novices Hurdle at Aintree, and 2nd at Haydock. He's won on heavy ground. He has the best form. He's going to be hard to beat. I think he'll probably win. Hastings' bumper form is better so far than his hurdles form, I think. I don't think he's shown that much, but at least he's done it on soft and heavy ground. East India Express can't have at all. Got hammered by Gidley Park, first run on soft ground, admittedly on debut, but taken out next time at Sandown because of soft ground, and it's going to be heavy at Newbury. No surprise if Nicky Henderson decides to pull him out, although he's, no surprise if he pulls him out at all because he's already got a handicap, so he doesn't need that third one.
Is it a possibility that's why Jack Black shortened up, because people have thought one of these might not go, we'll back this each way?
Jack Black's bumper form is okay, isn't it? 2 third places on soft ground. So yeah, he was the one that I thought could sneak in and be a danger. But I think making headway probably wins. Do I want to have a bet in a big field novice hurdle at 6-5 on heavy ground? Not really. No. But I think he's the most likely winner. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. For a nice yard as well. They are shrewd is an overused word, but I think that's fair enough to use for Greenall and Guerrero. Mr. Segal?
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. Obviously, Iroquo's their big horse. Obviously won at Cheltenham Festival last year, making headway. I wondered if that might be the way they go with making headway. I wonder if he might end up in the Martin Park. I think he'll enjoy a step up in trip in time. Best form clearly. 4th was he in the Grade 1 at Aintree. Not sure how good that form is. Django Bay was beaten the other day, but I thought he ran a very good race actually at Huntingdon in midweek. Bit of interest in 4 Towns from me here. I'm a bit of a Ben Pauling groupie these days, Rob. He has got so many good young horses in his yard. I think he's got more good young horses in his yard than anyone else in Britain at the moment. He's been winning bumpers with horses backed off the boards. He won the Sydney Banks. He's got Tell Her the Name.
Yeah, I mean, he won that listed bumper at Market Racing the other week, didn't he? There was a couple of horses with decent form, and his made its debut and took the race apart.
Battered them, yeah. And he's got loads of good young horses. So it'd be interesting to see. He's got this one off Stuart Crawford, its first run for Ben Pauling. So I'd be interested to see how he goes. Obviously, got a long way to go if he's going to be making headway. And Hastings, as Keels pointed out, very good bumper run at Aintree, wasn't it? In the graded bumper, won by Florida Dreams. It wasn't the best graded bumper ever run, but he ran well. Hurdle's form hasn't been that good, but once again, But I think the John Joe O'Neill's horses are running really well, haven't they? They landed the gamble with St. Davy last week. And then the following day, a horse probably should have won at Musselburgh as well. Springwell Bay probably should have won the Per Temps final that day. So his horses are going well. So I think he could improve on what he's shown. But I'm with Keels. I think making headway is the one to beat. And I'll be keeping an eye on 4 Towns for Ben Pauling and Harry Cook.
Yeah, well, yeah, what a combination that is. 4 Towns 12-1. They're making headway. Those 6-5 placed efforts in Grader Company, and even if they're not red hot Grader Company, Simon, it's still a bit better than what most of these will be aiming for in time. Yeah,
definitely. And I know it's going to be heavy ground, but Hastings was workmanlike and looked quite sort of one-paced, a bit slow over 2.5 on soft ground the time before last, or 2 miles, 3.5 it was, and again it was very workmanlike over 2.5 last time, and it's still 2 miles, even though it's heavy ground. And they'll making headway's form is 2 mile form. I think he's a solid favourite. And Jack Black, Dan Skelton's blog, he says he's sure he'll handle the ground. He's been working well at home, but he doesn't just expect to turn up and win. an 18-runner hurdle. I don't think it is an 18-runner hurdle anymore. But there's also just an interesting, it's a sore race, I suppose, because of the ground. It's going to be a bit of a slog. Maybe, it is interesting to look at the bigger prices. And there's been money for a horse called Selwan, Alan King's, which has got 2 P's by its name. But looking back, obviously, it came from France, where it had plenty of soft ground, heavy ground form. It came to Alan King's, ran 2 disappointing times on the flat, and then it's run on good ground a couple of times. Its second run back of a wind up. I mean, it would be a massive improvement if it was to pop off that and win this. But heavy ground, not the strongest novice hurdle, you never know. But it's more than halved in price. It's 100 to 1 down to about 28.33's best.
Okay, there we go. Opener at Newbury then. Quickly, Keels, sum it up.
Making headway the most likely winner. Won't be able to bet.
Okay, fair enough. Moving on then to the 1:30 at Newbury. We're significantly up in trip. 3 miles is the distance here on heavy ground, so it's going to take some getting, albeit 3 miles at Newbury, regardless of the ground, is often one of those courses and distance where they're set up in their positions, kick on, and then if you horses held up, you never get anywhere near them. Kintyre is 7-2, Emitom 4-1. J.A. Henty and Young Butler do not go. Equinus 6-1, American Sniper 13-2, Ikarak 7s, Wise Guy is 9-1. We've also got Ballymagrotti Boy, Picania, and on the blind side, it's just the type of race that you can see on the blind side popping up. And it's 3 miles heavy ground at Newbury. And like I said, Tom, sometimes you think, this is going to take some getting, and then 5 hurdles from home, that's your finishing position, because they kick on, and it can be quite hard to make up any ground. And you've got some old favourites in here, in particular Emitom, who, Alan King is quite the master, I think, at keeping these horses going for years and years and years. Obviously Edwardstone, So Royal, those type of horses over fences. But yeah, Emitom probably sets a standard, I reckon.
Yeah, Warren Greatrex won't be pleased with you because he had Emitom for most of his career, Ross. But
yeah, he did, but he's not keeping him. He gave up, and he said, "There you go, Alan. You take him up for his twilight."
Correct. Yeah, he was placed. He was 5th, 4th in a stairs hurdle once, I think. Emitom wasn't a great stairs hurdle. Liz Nagar Oscar won it. But I think he was 4th in it. He ran really well, didn't he, the other day against Miles Clear, wasn't he? He got beaten by St Davy, as we talked about a minute ago. He went on to win that handicap valuable handicap at Sandown. So I understand completely why he's at the top, near the top of the market. Kintyre's in very good form. Probably should have won 3 on the trot now, but unlucky at Warwick. Sort of missed the last and then stumbled after it. Otherwise, I think I always get horses that end in A. Me and Keels will have problems.
No. Don't ask me now. Actually, I've got a laptop. I can tell you, it's a he. Yeah. I'm not getting this wrong.
Is that because of your Spanish language
it's because it's
knowledge?
Watching too many Russian tennis players.
Okay, yeah, sure, yeah, okay, yeah. I forgot you like to watch Russian tennis players stuff.
So he can clearly go well. I'm going to throw a dart at the one you just said, Ross. My old boy, my old friend on the blind side. I thought he, at 25 to 1 or whatever he was a huge price. He's run twice over this course and distance. He was 2nd in the long walk 1 year. Is it the long walk? Whatever it's called. The grade 2 at Newbury. And the last time, which is only last March, he beat Keelbeg King in a race on very similar ground to this, off the same mark as this, off a big weight like this. And Keelbeg King's now rated 142. Was third in the Corto Star. He races off the same mark today on the blind side. I like horses for courses. I like horses that have run really well in the bad ground. And he's won Nicky Henderson that absolutely you cannot get it soft enough for him. He absolutely loves it. Now he's 12. I don't really like tipping 12-year-olds. And he ran appallingly at Plumpton last time. But if he comes back to that form in which he beat Keelbeg King, I think he'd nearly win this.
Plumpton's not his track, though, is he? He's a big galloper. I'm not sure Plumpton wouldn't have been.
Absolutely, and that's the reason why I think he might be worth a spin at a huge price, because this is nowhere near as good of the races. It's not a very good race, and the Keelbeg King form, they were 20 lengths clear of Scandibo, who's not a brilliant horse, but he always stays on into runs well in these sort of Newbury handicaps. So I thought that form made him interesting, and if he could bounce back to it, as I say, he's got to be a big price because he's a 12-year-old that ran badly at Plumpton last time. But I thought he's the type of horse that could easily pop up.
Yeah, I agree. Again, he's a Newbury horse and he's a big price. Keels, what stood out for you? Anything?
wouldn't say anything stood out. I mean, Quintara was my first one to go to because, like as Tom said, he should have made it 3-3, and he goes through this ground very well, doesn't he?
Yep.
Like Cave Tower, stay forever. Going to be up there. I'm a fan of Emitom too. I've backed him loads of times around Newbury. He does like the place. But I'd give him another go to Aquinas. Now, he's a lot shorter now than he was, although 2 of the favourites have come out, so I suppose that accounts for it. First time out at Aintree, he looked like a horse well ahead of his mark because he beat a very progressive in-form horse by 5 lengths with 16 lengths back to the rest. Came out, was actually even money to beat young Butler here, who was one of the favourites for this before he came out. But it was only like 11 days later without a penalty, and it was just too soon for him. And I'm wondering whether, it was a slight improvement next time at Sandown, but I'm wondering whether that was too soon as well. Well, I just wonder whether he wants to be proper fresh, and he's had 9 weeks off now, and I think there's every chance that he's going to be a little bit better than his handicap mark. I think what is he, £6 higher now? Is it? He's dropped a couple. I'm just going to check that. No, he's still still £7 higher, but I think he can go higher still if fresh is the key to him.
Yeah, and the yard as well. I mean, Guy bolted up the other day. That Cuthbert Dibble at Chepstow absolutely mullered him in background.
They're starting to come back to form.
They are, yeah.
That's the other thing as well. So he's had a quiet time, Nigel Twiston Davis, but I think half of his runners in the last fortnight finished in the first 3. So yeah, I quite like his chance. Yeah,
and if you look at the ones that were sort of, single-figure prices as well, they're all running up to form. So, okay, on the blind side then, and Aquinas for our pundit Simon Clare. Any angles for this 130 or offers, or what do you got?
No offers. I think Quintara just looks really, really solid. Some of these 3-mile handicappers, when they're in form and running up a sequence, I think they can keep progressing, keep overcoming the rise. Should have been 3 from 3. Loves heavy ground. An 8-year-old. I think the last 10 years, all the winners have been between 6 and 9 years old. Fits the profile. Probably just the only worry is Mel Rowley, the trainer, hasn't had a winner in a month from 11 runners. But I mean, she's had a few placed, or he's had a few placed efforts. So yeah, I think Quintara against a relatively exposed field looks a really good bet at 7-2.
Okay. There we go then. A few opinions then, yeah. And I do, Aquinas is one of those horses that I almost thought, I'm not going to give him another chance tomorrow, but maybe Keels has talked me into it, and Tristan Davis' horse is going well. He's also up there as well. But 3 miles the distance for that handicap hurdle. On the blind side, 28 to 1 each way, says Tom Leach. He is on Quintara for Vince, Wise Guy for Henderson, for Duncan Evans. And there you go. Doghouse Riley says, it's a really bad race when Emitom is second favourite. That is a little bit harsh. A little bit harsh. Just a tad. The Denman Chase up next then. We currently have 5 runners for this race. Shishkin is 8 to 13. Protectorat is 9 to 4. Sam Brown 12 to 1. Hitman 12 to 1. Does he know at 28 to 1? Which is probably a good question for anyone back in the favourites. Does he know if he's going to turn up tomorrow? Obviously, Shishkin is the class act on for this race. But he's 8 to 13. Like I said, he is a quirky sort, Keels. And with form lines of RU on his last 2 starts, are you giving him another chance?
Well, he was 3 on earlier in the week,
Yep.
Initial shows were 3 on and 4 to 1 Protectorate, and I thought Protectorate was like a no-brainer at those sort of odds. Shishkin's the better horse, but 1, will he be allowed to run? 2, will he decide to run?
Yeah.
3, will he get round?
All big questions.
It's one of those, isn't it? It's not 1,000,000 to 1 that Nicky Henderson sees him crawl home in the first race on the card and says, no way I'm letting him run in that before Cheltenham, is there?
Yeah.
He's done it enough times before, and this ground will probably be worse than he's been pulled out of before. So there's always that possibility. Obviously, 48-hour decks doesn't matter now, you just get your money back.
He has a very good record on bad ground, to be fair. So it'd be bizarre if he didn't.
He's a funny horse, Shishkin, because I've always liked him. And when he puts his head down, he looks like he really tries.
Yeah.
And he was doing it again at the end at Kempton. Although midway through it, I thought he wanted to chuck the towel in, and Nico de Boer was having to get after him. And I also thought at the start he wasn't 100% sure that he wanted to get going either.
Well, let's be fair, midway through, I think if I told you Hewitt was going to win, you'd have told me that as well.
Absolutely. It was a funny old race, wasn't it? But they didn't go lightning fast, did they? Because Ile actually went faster. Yeah. Like in the novice race. So, it was just a funny race all round. But he's still got the best form. He is the most likely winner. I have bet Protectorate. I didn't say the difference in price was daft. Yes, he was out of form in the Betfair Chase in the first round of the season, but the third in the handicap under that weight wasn't bad at all. And second last time, giving him £4 a long press. I mean, it's not that bad a run, is it?
No, not at all.
You haven't done an awful lot to be, almost written off in what could be a match, might not be a match. I mean, Hitman should be 50 to 1. I mean, I tried to get him to stay 3 mile on decent ground last year. There's not a thing in his CV that suggests he wants 3 mile on every ground, is there? Like, what I mean? He just can't. He can't win. Sam Brown could run a big race if the other two put him out. He's won that. He's won that Veterans Chase very well, isn't he?
Well, he's the other proper mudlark, isn't he?
Yes, exactly. So he's the other proper mudlark. He's the one that you could see causing, the sort of silly shock that Zanza caused last year. Although he is 12, he almost certainly had a hard race 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And he's pretty much halved in price since the decks were made as well.
Yeah. Okay. But even if all 5 turn up, he might pick up a nice bit of prize money. Tom, Sam Brown, and if obviously Shishkin doesn't go, they'll be thrilled they declared him. But yeah, it's again another funny little race. Shishkin 8 to 13. I feel like we've had this chat a million times before. Do you trust him at odds on? Do you trust him in this ground? It's he's a cracking horse. It's just become a bit of a pantomime, hasn't it?
Yeah. I've got no problems with the ground. I think he really likes testing ground. But as Gill says, I don't think I'm not going to back Shishkin ever. Let alone 8 to 13. I don't think. And where'd you go? Protectorate's the obvious alternative. I understand why all the sharks took the 4 to 1 in the week. I mean, bet to nothing, isn't it, in a race like that? Sam Brown. See, I got Sam Brown wrong last time because I thought he turned into a horse that didn't like soft ground. Proved me completely wrong because his 2 best runs had been at Aintree and Punchestown, and he was going to win at Punchestown and wherever, and we fell over in one of them. But I thought he liked good ground, but he proved me completely wrong. He had no problems with the bad ground at Warwick last time. You could see him easily, picking up the pieces if the other two do silly things, which Shishkin, as we all know, can. I personally want Shishkin to win. I want him to run. I want him to win. I want us to have a proper contender. The British horse is a proper contender for the Gold Cup. Horse to take on Galopan, and I think he can be it. But he's got to get everything right, and he often doesn't. And that's the problem with Shishkin, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. 8 to 13 then, Shishkin to win this. You right there, Paul?
Yeah, no, I was getting messages from our producer, Dave Lowe. I can now confirm that Hitman can't possibly win because he fancies him. Commonly known as Idiot Boy. You couldn't even back the winner of the match at Leopardstown at the weekend. So if you're thinking of backing Hitman, change your mind.
Oh, my God.
There you go. He's got the mockers on him, for sure. If Hitman wins, then... Well, I don't know, maybe I won't come back on Monday night either for another one. Shishkin 8 to 13 then for the Denman Chase here, Simon.
Yeah, and of course Hitman went off favourite last year and got beat by Zanza. I think he came second, to be fair, but this is the stronger race, certainly. Shishkin 8 to 13. We've got a special here. If you fancy Shishkin, you think he's going to turn up and you think he's going to absolutely hose up by over 5 lengths, you get 2 to 1. Now, some encouragement. In the last 10 years, the winning distance has been 6 lengths or more, 7 lengths or more. 6 out of the 10 years, and they were when the races were run on soft or heavy ground with many soft ground, and the other 4 years I think 3 of them were on good soft when the winning distance was shorter. So history says eminently possible. And like Tom, I'd really like to see him win. Really, I mean, I've got to say, up until the point he unseated the King George, it was a stunning. I thought we don't know he would have gone on a 1. Maybe he would have stopped and Hewitt would have picked him up. But after that refusal to race at Ascot, it was a brilliant performance. And I think it'd be great if he could just turn up. And I think he's a better horse than Protectorate. And if he wins tomorrow, he'll be, as you say, the leading home hope against Galopin de Champagne, fast or slow. So I'll be willing him to win. So maybe, and because I'm willing him to win, I think he can win and will win. Then maybe that 2 to 1 to win by over 5 lengths and do it in style is what I would take if I was allowed. Yeah,
fair enough. Well, maybe we'll get you a false moustache, see if you can get on in a shot maybe. But yeah, I mean, Shishkin, if he'd have won at Kempton, You know, he would have won the Ascot Chase. He won at Aintree, of course. He would have won at Cape Town. I mean, his record when he's given a proper stamina test is very, very good. So hopefully we will see him tomorrow and he will get that proper stamina test. He's 8-13 for the Denman Chase, as you can expect. Everyone on the chat is disappointed about the turnout. I'm a die-hard jumps fan, but these poor turnouts of grade races not good for the sport. All no bets for me until a decent field size says now then, which I presume from his name is and the comment is a Yorkshireman. So there you go, a very Yorkshire comment there, and I say that with love. Was that
now then? You should have backed Zanza last year when we all didn't we, Keels? We told you to back Zanza last year. We quite like these.
Yeah,
small
absolutely. You can get bets in them, but you're always going to have small fields in these races because there are too many of them and not enough horses to fill them. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
You know, so there are going to be plenty of them, but they're not all 1 or 2 horse races, even if the betting says they are.
Yeah, that is fair.
Not always.
But yeah, like I said, if a 1-4-3 rated Zanza at the age of 9 years old can win it last year, then anything could happen. So don't rule out Sam Brown. People on the chat saying they wouldn't back him at 120 to 1. Fair enough. If anyone wants to offer me 120 to 1 about Sam Brown, I'll take as much as you've got. 240 at Newbury, then moving on another graded race and another small field, potentially a very small field if a few of them get pulled out. Edwardstone is 13-8, Boots Hill 15-8, Editor Ajit is 5-1, Amarillo Sky is 8-1, Funambule Sibilla is 8-1, Calico does not go, just the 5 of them currently, although there are whisperings about whether Edwardstone's going to turn up and even whether Editor Ajit's going to turn up. Does Boot Hill really want the ground as well? It could well be Amarillo Sky versus Funambule Sibilla at this rate. But Calico's already been pulled out. But Edwardstone is, again, the class act of this race, Tom. Albeit that experiment last time out, stepping him up in trip, did not go to plan. But yeah, if he does run, let's just ignore all the debate whether any of these do run. Do you want to be back in Edwardstone at 13-8 against this field in this ground? No,
obviously not. But he does have the best form even this year, doesn't he? His second to John One in the Tingle Creek is better than anything else has produced. So that was on soft ground. I have no problems with him on the ground, but last time was pretty ropey from start to finish, wasn't it? I know he pulled too hard, but he should have. I mean, he was beaten before the 2 mile mark, I thought. So I just thought he was way below form. He could easily bounce back. But I want to go to our Corals ambassadors residence and ask Mr. Clare what Joe Tizard is saying about Amarillo Sky, because I think Keels and I are singing off the same shim sheet with him, and we want to know, is he fit and ready and raring to go? Mr. Clare, over to you.
I'm glad I got it in front of me. Yeah, look, the interesting thing about this is that when he did his leg in the Clarence House last year, they said, both him and his dad said that they committed to not run until the game spirit, even though they knew they'd probably see him working well and looking good in the autumn and be half tempted. And that's exactly the case. And when I spoke to Joe before Christmas, he said that he'd been in work quite a long time. He was looking fantastic on the gallop. But because they'd made that pledge that when you've got a horse who's done a leg, you just play totally 100% safe by waiting that full year. That's why they've waited till now. But he said he's been back at work a long time. He will improve the comeback run. That said, I'll be confident he's fit enough to run well here. It's a trappy little race, but he's shown it goes well here, and he won't mind the soft ground. He's looking forward to running it. So I think, knowing the Tizards, they don't leave an awful lot, to chance. I think he'll be pretty fit. So a lot depends on how the race pans out. And, he's still got to improve a little bit, because even in that Clarence House, he was a tap below Editor de Geet and Edwardstone, wasn't he? It was his best run. So he's got to, either they have to run badly or he's got to improve again. But I think he'll run very well. Yeah,
to be fair, Tizards, with Elixir de Nuts and JPR1 in the novice company as well, they're having a good time with the 2 mile chasers, Tom.
Yeah, exactly. And listen, as we were talking about with On the Blind Side earlier, I think he's run 3 times over fences at Newbury, a bit like we were talking about this time a year ago with Zanza. He's just got tremendous form at Newbury. He would have won all 3, and he would have won them all by miles. And Newbury's one of those tracks where if you get rolling up the straight, you can just be better here than anywhere else. And I think that's the case with Amarillo Sky. He's obviously got a little bit to find, but the Newbury factor is definitely in his favour. Boot Hill, I think, I don't know. I've just been running in handicaps, and I know he's got a bit to do for me at 15-8. Put it like that. If he was coming here at about 5 or 6 to 1 shot, then it's a different kettle of fish. But Editor Jeet, will he like the ground? He's got cheek pieces on for the first time. I was against him. Edward Stone obviously has got the worry last time. I think one of the funny things about Funambule Sivola is that when he won it, was it last year or the year before? I think he's won 2 of these. It was really fast ground, and I think he actually is better on really quick ground. He handles soft ground, but he's a bit like we were talking about on the blind side. I think he's the only Venetia horse that really wants really good ground. So I thought it was all set up for Amarillo Sky, really. He's the one horse I've got. Obviously, he's got the layoff, but hearing Mr. Clare there tell me that they've done loads of work with him, he's back in for ages. I think he'll love Newbury. He'll skip along out the, if Editor Jeet runs just behind him, and I think they'll struggle to get past him.
Okay. There we go then. Amarillo Sky 8-1. Funambule Sivola is 8-1. It would be. I mean, it's not going to be hilarious at all for the man set to my left if your nap in a Doncaster handicap came out and won a Grade 2 next time out.
This is it. I gave him a chance. Everything was perfect for him last time at Doncaster. Decent ground. And he just seems to have lost his mojo, doesn't he? That's the thing, isn't it? Like, you know what I mean? He did get involved in a post battle with Calico, but Calico finished second and he finished sixth. So there was nothing positive to take out of that, I didn't think. And this ground is different. He has finished second, and as Tom said, he doesn't have the soft ground. He's finished second in the Champion Chase, albeit one where Shishkin pulled up and Envoy Allen wasn't right. And
yeah, I mean, to be fair, his two best RPRs are on soft ground at Cheltenham and then on good to soft when he won this a couple of years ago.
Yeah, it always tends to ride a bit faster at Newbury than when they say it's good to soft, so I wouldn't read too much into that. But he's
a Newbury horse, isn't he?
Yeah, he is a Newbury horse, yes, definitely. I just think he's lost the plot a little bit. So I'd rather be with Amarillo Sky, who did win first time out last season off a 7-month break or whatever it was, and gave £9 and a beating to Fugitive, who's £26 higher now, and then he won that race by 14 lengths here, having won the previous one at Newbury by 10, and as Tom said, would have won easily if he hadn't fallen near the time before. So yeah, proper Newbury horse, and you can pick holes. Edward Stone's forgotten how to win and run badly last time. I mean, he hasn't won since the Tingle Creek of last season.
It feels a bit like he had such a good run of things and then started to get beaten by better horses in that class. It's almost like he's lost a bit of the love for the game since he just keeps getting beaten and beaten and beaten.
I mean, I don't know whether they have belief or anything, but I mean, he has sort of lost it. Boot Hill normally runs right-handed. He has one left-handed, but the last time he ran right-handed, he got beat at odds on at Doncaster. So, and that's only once in the last 8 or so starts that he's gone on a left-handed track. Don't think he wants bottomless ground. Editor made a horrible mistake at Cheltenham, didn't he? And has been very in and out this season, so it's winnable. And let's not forget that Amarillo Sky, who has been put in a Champion Chase, so there still are designs on something maybe a little bit better, is also youngest horse in the race and getting £6 from Edward Stone and Editor Geek and 4 from Boot Hill. So I think he's right up there. It's way, way, way too big a price, and I've had a proper go at him.
Okay. Fair enough. Actually, you telling me that Funambule Sivola's kind of lost the love for the game and all that kind of stuff. Actually, I know it's strange. It's made me want to back him more almost because I think that's why he's 8-1. Not to do with your opinion, but he's just one of those Venetia horses, isn't it? And one of those horses that clearly loves it. I mean, he's won the last 2 Renew. Can he be the next Altior, Simon Clare, to win 3 on the bounce of this race? I almost think that defeat last time out makes him more interested. If he'd have bolted up at Doncaster, he'd be a lot shorter.
I'll take up drinking whiskey very quickly if that horse wins tomorrow. And I can't stand whiskey.
All right, fair enough. Well, if he does and I've backed him, I'll buy you a nice bottle. So there you go. Simon, what do you make of the game spirit?
Well, I think, listen, we were talking about the small fields and the fact that doesn't mean they're not fascinating races. We basically discussed all 5 horses and kind of, can make cases for them all and cases against them all, So, as you say, Funambule Sivola, I remember that because I followed Keels in on his nap last time at Doncaster, and we sort of checking the results, thinking he was a non-runner. He was so far down the list, but that's the best slight on a tip ever. I thought he was a non-runner. Is this horse run? He can't be there. He's not in the first 3. He was absolutely nap, But anyway, so if he starts he probably will pop up and win his 3rd game spirit tomorrow. I suppose Amarillo Sky. It's interesting. I always follow the Joe Tizard horses anyway with our sponsorship of them. But both Tom and Paul's case for it has made me think almost think he's got a great chance. I mean, I suppose Elixir de Nuts was an example of a horse given who defied the ratings. I know John Bond made mistakes, but even the way he beat Editor Geet and Fugitive, it just shows that over 2 miles, if you get into that great rhythm and you run the track well, obviously it was a brilliant ride by Freddie Gingell, just shows you can sort of outrun the ratings in a way. And I think maybe Amarillo Sky at Newbury He'll be very fresh, but probably, I'm sure he'll be fit enough. You know, and he runs the trail well. So maybe he is now. I've come around to it. I thought Everstone, we all fancied him last time, I think. Me and Kills did anyway. Kempton, he ran so flat. You know, he just ran like a horse that you wouldn't be confident is going to just suddenly turn up and run to his very best tomorrow. Boot Hill, I think, could easily be the one that wins just because he's the kind of the horse in form on a run. You know, could be the obvious one. But the prices, I think, I'll probably go for Amarillo Sky. But fascinating race. Can't wait to watch it. I love watching 2 mile race chases anyway. But I'm now all in on Amarillo Sky thanks to the Segal and Kealy confidence.
Okay, there you go, lovely. And I'm having a max bet on Funambule Civil now after this chat. Which, to be fair, if Arthur would get pulled out, it might be 7-4 second favourite. So that's the game spirit then. Let's move on to the big race of the day, where we've got 24 of them currently lining up for the Betfair Hurdle. It might not be the quality renewal necessarily that we've had over the past few years, with the top weight only being rated 140. Could do with another £5 or £6 really on top of that for a real quality renewal. However, because of that, it is a big field and plenty taking their chance. O'Castle Dermot, though, is 11-2. Altabelli 6-1. Iberico Lord 6-1. Spirit Danu 9-1. Brentford Hope 11s. Look away 11s. Tell her the name does not go. Only a matter of time. 12s. You've got other horses in here as well at decent prices who might have a little bit of a squeak. I mean, the Drift on Under Control is very interesting. You've got Go Dante, who won easily last time out. Cam Sinas for Fergal O'Brien, whose horses are in good nick. But 24 runners. Handicap Hurdle. Extra places on offer. Poor Kealy, you must be, I don't know, foaming at the mouth in excitement here for this Betfair Hurdle. But
well, I have back 3.
just the 3. Fair enough. Just the 3. The problem is, of course, is that pesky favourite, which we don't know anything about.
Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? I mean, on his French form, he doesn't look absolutely banged in, does he? But it was 8 months ago. He's won 2 of his last 3 handicaps out there, and he's been bought by Simon Minier and Isaac Swade and sent to Willie Mullins. And who knows what improvement he's got into him. Yeah. Willie Mullins only ever had 1 winner at Newbury. That was Total Recall who won the Hennessy back in 2017. He has had 2 runners up in this race in the last decade, though. So it is just a matter of time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? He went ages without winning a Gold Cup, and now he wins them for fun, doesn't he? Like, you know, so.
That said, of all, you know, he won a lot of Grade 1s last week, but the handicappers didn't run.
Yeah, exactly.
Well.
Yeah, I mean, handicaps by definition are far more competitive, aren't they? Like, you know, more runners, more unexposed horses. He's definitely unexposed. Wouldn't surprise you if he won. Irish Handicap has given him a mark of 139, so he's got to be the first Irish horse in many years to run off a lower rating in Britain, just because of the way they've treated his French mark slightly differently to we have. So yeah, it's guesswork. You want to back him, feel free. I wouldn't put anybody off him because it's Willie Mullins, and I think he's had 3 winners from 4 runners since the Dublin Racing Festival. Just the bandwagon keeps rolling on, doesn't it? So, but I've gone against him. I backed earlier in the week. I backed 2. I backed Spirit Danu and Altabelli. Now Altabelli is one I've left out for tomorrow because he's got a bit shorter, but he's definitely going to run well, I think, because his third to Lucia at Ascot, I thought that was beyond him because the ground was pretty quick that day, and he's a big horse who wants it deep.
He didn't particularly. He went through that race, and I didn't think he was particularly enjoying it. Yet he kept going.
No, absolutely, and he hung.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and I think it's just ability and attitude that got him where it was. Like, you know, and he's going to have his conditions. Trainer says we're happy with all the rain. You only need to watch his last run back and see the slower ground would be a positive. So, you know, he's got an awful lot in his favour. So is Spirit Danu, who hacked up at Sandown last time. You know. Trainer said it's a bad plan. It's always been the plan, but it's a bad plan when you've got that much weight, and that's the trainer's fault. Like, you know, because he went up £10 for winning the Sandown last time. He won very, very easily. I have before made the argument that why are you doing this, going up £10 and then running in a big handicap? And every time I've made that argument, that horse has won.
Yeah.
So this time I've decided to row in with it.
Well, see, and it's particular in handicap hurdles. I think obviously, I think over fences, a lot of it is rhythm of the race, is where you get into position, the jumping and everything. I think in decent handicap hurdles, class is such a huge impact.
Yeah, and he has got a fair bit of class.
Yeah, and he's won off 11 stone 12 in the past. It's not like he hasn't carried a big weight to victory.
Absolutely.
Before.
And obviously, that ability to handle the ground as well, because I mean, I think he loves it.
I think the fact that he loves the ground is a bigger impact than the weight, because so many of these are going to be
Absolutely,
floundering.
yeah, there are plenty of them. Yeah, I mean, there is. You know, I've got to feel a little bit sorry for Noel Julian, who's lost his claim since the last time, because now Caelan Quinn's on it to take the 3 off. He obviously won the Welsh national, Nasser Lam, he's very capable and got a good strike rate for the Moors.
Yeah,
So
I mean, he gave one an absolute corker of a ride early on today as well. So
yeah. So I think that one will run well. I mean, you can make cases for loads, couldn't you? But I thought the one was just miles overpriced. And, the one I actually decided not to back earlier in the week was Under Control. And here she is. She's actually a bigger price than she was on Monday. I don't really get that. Quite probably because Nico de Boinville's chosen the Iberico Lord. But you go back to Sandown in April last year on soft ground. I mean, she destroyed him. I know the form book says she won by half a length, but she hit the front, going to between the second last and the last, and cruised a fair way clear, and just hit the front way too soon.
Yeah.
But she was always holding him at the death. That was her second run within the space of 9 days. So the fact she ran 2 weeks ago at Doncaster shouldn't be a problem. And there she split Astro, Diamond and Garland Mosso, who are rated higher than her. And she's officially £1 well in for that. We know she goes on bad ground. We know she doesn't mind a big field because she won races in the fields of 11 and 15. I think she's got a lot going for a 20 to 1 shot.
yeah, the market's gone. It was a bit weird on that, wasn't it?
Oh well, Nico's red and that's it. I bet it was a really hard choice.
Yeah.
And I just think that's the wrong price.
Yeah. The only thing is, I do remember crunching the numbers once on JP horses at double figures versus single figures, and once they go past 10 to 1, it ain't worth bothering in handicaps, I think. But
he's had some big price winners, though, hasn't he? Just not that many.
yeah, he just had a lot of big
backed
price
one once.
winners. What was that?
Creon in the
Creon.
Oh yeah, those are the days. Yeah.
Mind you, that goes to show how long ago that is.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah. I can't think of any others since then, mine. Castle Dumont 11 to 2, Altibelli 6 to 1, Iberico Lord 6 to 1. You might have guessed, Tom, from what I was quizzing Keels there, but I'm a big Spirit Danu fan. I thought this horse looks an absolute monster. Apart from that Cheltenham run where the ground was quite fast, it was fresh, and it was up against an insanely well handicapped horse anyway. You ask this horse to do something, it does it. Right-handed, left-handed, galloping tracks, tight tracks, good ground, heavy ground. Gary Moore in the Betfair Hurdle as well. I mean, this is one of those ones, they're going to clip this out if it happens again, but if Spirit Danu is unplaced in this race, you're hosting on Monday, put it that way.
Well, I certainly won't be hosting on Monday, but it's got every chance of not being placed because you can make a case for all of them, literally all of them. I thought there's very few in there, funnily enough, that I thought, you know what, that is going to absolutely hate the ground. There's plenty in there that I thought, you know what, that'll go on the ground all the way down. There's obviously a couple that you wouldn't fancy, but the ones on the screen there, I think they're all going to like the ground. Castle Dumont liked it in France. Altibelli we know is going to like it. Iberico Lord won the Greatwood in a rocket time on soft ground. You've talked about Spirit Danu. Brentford Hope used to be a mudlark for Richard Hughes. All they ever talked about was having heavy ground. Look Away was second in the Challow on heavy ground. Only a Matter of Time is surely going to be miles better on soft ground than he was at Ascot the other day. And you just go down and down and down. And I'm sort of trying to think, which ones aren't going to like it? Now, there will be plenty because it's going to be completely different ground to any of them I've ever raced on before. I think it's going to be really much worse heavy ground than it was at Sandown that day when Spirit Danu won. And I just don't know. I just found it really hard to rule anything out. And that's why you can have a crack at Spirit Danu, and I think he'll run really well. But he was 14 to 1 yesterday. What is he, 8 or 9 to 1 now? I think that's about the right price. Doing my price-wise job, he was definitely on the list, but when I saw the sort of Keel's money knock him from 14s into 8s, I thought, well, that's about right. I don't know. I think it's really, really hard. When I did it earlier in the year for the anti-post price-wise feature, I ended up on Iberico Lord and Origny Mill. On Iberico Lord, I just love the Greatwood form, so I'd give him a chance. I'm slightly different than Keels. I thought he had every chance. I thought he was given a bit of a dodgy ride at Sandown that day when Under Control beat him. So I don't think there's... I think he can go well. Origny Mill is just a big improver. He won on heavy ground before.
Yeah, that was the one I was going to throw to you, Tom, because, you talk about passing the eye test or whatever. That horse has absolutely dotted up on the last two starts,
Correct.
Looking like
Correct.
It's got 2 stone in.
Absolutely. But once again, it's Wincanton heavy ground, which is really very different from Newbury heavy ground. But what he will like is there's so many front runners in this. I remember, it's quite a good race for front runners. Auckland Risk, Agra Park, lots of them have gone from the front, and Kalashnikov was ridden very handy when he won. I think, I wouldn't necessarily rule that out. But as you see, you go down there. Lucia won that bumper at Sandown on very heavy ground. Everyone says, Nikki Henderson says she won't like it. I think she will. Not quite sure I fancy Lourdes de Sud. but it's a Skelton horse in a handicap, so you can literally make a case for them all. Ito Ditto was one I thought might be interesting. Nicky Martin won the Welsh National, had the very good novice Bear Gills a few years ago, who was fourth in the, I don't even know what it's called now. It was called the Ballymore back then, I think, but it's called the Bearing something now. You can make a case for all of them. Knickerbocker Glory, time figure at Ascot, excellent. Beat Out of Ellie, out of sight, and loves heavy ground. As I say, there's loads you can make a case for. I found it really difficult. I ended up on the other one, the other Mullins horse, Only a Matter of Time, simply because I thought I had to a little bit. I've written about it a few times in the weekend. I've written about it in my trackers column. So then I thought he was a handicap hurdle winner to come after his run at Ascot the other day, where he hated the ground. I thought he did really well to finish where he did. He was 7-2 favourite for the Greatwood. He was 4-1 for the Betfair, and he was 25-1 for this yesterday. Now that was because he wasn't going to get in, but he did scrape in, and I just thought he might run well at around 16-20-1. But really hard. I think you can make a case for all of them. Pay your money and take your chance. So I'm not as confident as you about Spirit Danu, Ross, for sure, but he's definitely one of the ones, along with probably 20 others that that I could see winning this.
Okay, yeah, win this, win the Imperial Cup, job done.
Win the Champion Hurdle.
Win the Champion Hurdle. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, easy. Next Goshen. If that's a good thing. But I knew you'd come up with an angle, just like that picture behind you. Simon Clare then, the Betfair Hurdle big race of the day on Saturday. Extra places and angles, please.
Yeah, listen, 5 places. We're each way. We've got a couple of specials as well. Actually, we've got the price special at Castle Des Mottes and Iberico Lord, either of them to win 100-30, still there till 7, a few more minutes. Nicky Henderson to win the race. He's got 3 runners, Iberico Lord, Lucia and Under Control. That's 3-1. So works out better than backing all 3. He's won it 5 times, but not since 2013 with My Tent or Yours. Or Willie Mullins to win the Betfair Hurdle. He's got 3 again, a Castle Des Mottes, Only a Matter of Time, and Alvani, who's a 50-1 chance. That's 7-2. So you can back the Mullins trio at 7-2. Tom's made a great explanation of what a fantastic betting race this is. And Knickerbocker Glory, in Dan Skelton's blog, quite interesting, he says he will love the ground the deepest. He's been kept fresh for a 2-mile handicap with as soft as ground as he can get. And they're going to make plenty of use of him, which I think, to Tom's point about how horses on the front end actually run really well in this race, is probably a positive. He's been really well back. We're top price 22. He's shorter everywhere else. He was 33. And that's obviously the Tristan Durrell Skelton combination, which won the Coral Lanzarote. Lotus Surge, same blog. He said they found he had ulcers after the Greatwood when they really fancied him. And he thinks obviously Skelton rides him. They think he's going to run very, very well. But so those are the 2 Skelton horses. I thought Go Dante, was 6 in the Greatwood. Won well last time, up just £4. Sean Bowen back on board. Obviously, he's a Coral ambassador. We're cheering him on against Harry Cobden for the title. And it'd be great to be one with his one ride tomorrow at 25-1. So I'm on Go Dante.
Okay, there you go. And Keels, you're on?
I have backed Under Control, Out of Belly, and Spirit Danu. Don't care which one wins.
Okay, fair enough. I do. I care that it's Spirit Danu. That's what I care about, the Betfair Hurdle. And Tom?
I have backed 3-2. Iberico Lord, Origny Mill. Those are a long time ago, though. And tomorrow I will have a few quid on Only a Matter of Time, but there might be a couple more by the off time.
Lovely stuff. Thank you very much. Right, 2 more to rattle through at Newbury then. Novices Handicap Chase over just shy of 3 miles, although it'll certainly feel like 3 miles tomorrow. Inch House 5-4. Mr. Coffee, go on, lad. 130. Making your mind up 4-1. Hitching Jacking doesn't go. Rock My Way is 7's Hometown Boy. Is 91 outsider for a yard who have just sprung back into a bit of form. However, Keels, Inch House looks like a lovely horse. Returns to his favourite track and has got Ladbrokes Trophy written all over him later up next year, maybe.
He wins, doesn't he? I mean, I don't think he lost anything defeat to Stumptown. Last time I think Stumptown, he was second in the Kim Muir last year. I think he's going to run really well in the Ultimate if that's where he goes. And yeah, if the second favourite is Mr. Coffee, you get more confident in the favourite, aren't you? 12 runs over fences, 6 different jockeys. Not one of us made us to persuade him to put his head in front. And the ground is heavy. I mean, it all depends on at what point he says no. You know, so what are the others making your mind up? Well, I'm terrible, generally, last couple of starts. Got my way would be half interesting if he stays. I think he probably will. I think he wants ground really, really deep. Hometown boy. Got beat a long way when he ran, but I did have an overreach. He's probably going to be better than that, but yeah, I think it's inch houses to lose, and if you're having a forecast, it'd be what my way.
Okay, there you go. Tom Segal.
Yeah, I think Inch House will win. I'm not so negative on the hometown boy as Keel's there. I thought he jumped really well at Carlisle before. I think he, as Keel said, got a little injury there. Whether he really likes soft ground, I don't know, but I think he's a horse to keep him onside for the rest of the season. He did win his point-to-point on very, very testing ground, but I think this is Inch House's to lose. But if there was one that could upset the apple cart, it might be Hometown Boy.
Okay, and very quickly, Simon, anything on this 350?
No, I just think Inch House is probably incredibly solid at 5-4. I think Mr. Coffey, they probably need to win this to get into the National with 34 runners now. He was completed last year running the race, so I imagine that will help his chances if he's going to run in that race again. He'll need to win this tomorrow, but I think Inch House for me.
Okay, and to close off the Newbury card then, it's a bumper, a listed bumper to be specific, and Histrionic is heading the betting at 11-4 for Nichols and Cobden, 4-1 Royal Infantry, Union Avenue 4-1, Dirty Den is 11-2, Noah's Great Rainbow is 7s, Roman Roy is 9-1, I think after Ken Roy ran in a bumper earlier on, so Succession each way double for you if you like. But Nichols and Cobden here, just having a look. No Ben Paulin runner, Tom. So you're going to have to come up with another angle.
Yeah, well, I thought the Union Avenue was quite interesting. I was quite impressed with him at wherever it was, Kelso? No, Aintree in very soft ground on Boxing Day. Beat a fancied horse of Paul Nichols. I think he might do it again. So I'd be with Union Avenue, but bumper's not really my thing. I'm quite interested in the Twiston Davis horse. Is it running? Clap of Thunder? Because I've been to this meeting a few times, and he won it a few times since when I was there. I just remember him thinking, what they target this race. Dirty Den used to be trained by Twiston Davis, is now trained by Sid Hosey, I think, but he was owned by Nigel Twiston Davis up until this run. So there's a bit of a Twiston Davis angle in there. But I think they've got a bit to find to beat Clap of Thunder, and I think Histrionic is probably a horse with the most potential in the race. Okay,
Twiston Davis won this back in 2016 with Ballyandy, and Thunderclap won today. So maybe Clap of Thunder can win tomorrow. Simon, last race.
I think it's pretty worth taking Histrionic on. I mean, he was very expensive, €450,000. It was beaten in there were four in a line really in a slow motion finish last time out. I'm a Lumberjack was in front of him, so I'm not sure how I'd take him on with, but I think it'd be one the bookies would be looking to lay in the last.
Okay, there we go. Histrionic then 11-4. If you do back that one, make sure you go crazy. Really, lose it. If that one wins the last. Okay, Dirty Den each way says Tom Leach, and has Keel's got one?
I was just trying to say.
Oh yeah, completely forgot. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Keels, what do you think about bumpers? You've got 3 seconds.
Dirty Den's got the best form on RPRs at the weights. That'll do for me. It was heavy ground last time in the listed bumper. He's run well in all 3. That'll do. Don't really care. I mean, I'd be on my way home after the penultimate.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough after Inch House has won, hopefully. But okay, have we got time for an ad, or should we just get the naps? Yeah, you want an advert? Sure, have an advert. Okay, that's the advert. Now, naps on Saturday then at Newbury in heavy ground. Hopefully it won't be heavy going for the best bet. Starting off with the man to my left, Mr. Paul Kealy.
Amarillo Sky in the Game Spirit 240.
Lovely stuff. Amarillo Sky for the Tizzards then. Mr. Tom Segal.
Oh, don't really know. I think we've got to go for the Betfair Hurdle, so I'll throw in only a matter of time, but it's a really, really hard race.
Okay, it's Spirit Danu then, in if we're going for the big race. Tom, I don't know if you know, I might fancy that one a little bit. But Simon?
Shishkin to win by over 5 lengths at 2-1 are in the no special. I think he's going to win and win well tomorrow.
Okay, there you go. There's the naps. Thank you ever so much, everyone. Thank you to Kealy, to Tom, to Simon, and fingers crossed that we'll be back Monday night, unless I don't know the building explodes or something. You never know. But we'll be back for our first Cheltenham preview show. It's not too far away now. Don't know if you know, but enjoy Newbury tomorrow, and we'll see you on Monday night.